Lynette Oxley here for Tac Shack Tactical TV. I'm here with Paul from Gun Owners South Africa. Welcome, Paul.
Good morning, Lynette. Morning, viewers. This shirt is purely ironic. However, it's in honor of the CITES conference that was on up until last week. Save the seals.
Any case, we're going to talk today about the 16 days of action that we start in the crime statistics.
So, yeah, that's kind of odd, you know. So Becky Taylor has just released the last quarter's crime stats, which were up until September, obviously, July, August, and September, and again, they show an alarming increase in crimes against women and children. GBV violence is steaming ahead full speed. In fact, it's accelerating. So this brings to mind what the Girls on Fire program is about. Action, not activism. We've been activating people around GBV for decades, and we're getting increasing GBV. So what are we encouraging it? I'm not suggesting we are, but it certainly seems, you know, that's why correlation does not equal causation. But it seems very, very odd that the more we talk about GBV, the more GBV we get. And remember that GBV is vastly underreported.
That's basically so
if we look at the ones that actually that popped out in the crime stats, and we multiply that by whatever the factor is that you think it's being underreported by.
I say about 6 if we're not talking.
1 in 6.
Yeah, conservatively speaking.
Yeah, so it's only reported. So that's shocking. So the more activism we get doesn't help. At the very least, it just doesn't help. It's not doing any good. So it's time to try something different. So we have that answer, guys.
So for the last 3 weeks, I've been interviewing women. It's been, we've got...
harrowing, I think is the word.
Very harrowing. It included some very famous people from overseas and some famous people from South Africa and some really horrific victims from all over the world. It's not just a South Africa problem, but it's a particular South Africa problem as well.
I think that's correct, Lynn. I think, you know, we sometimes we're inside our bubble, the South African bubble, and we think that everything is the South African problem. Sometimes it's just not. It's a trend in the world. Maybe it's I don't know, the wokeness that's causing people that were otherwise not alienated from society, but is alienating them further, and they're striking back. They're feeling that they're less in control, so they have to try and assert their control. I don't know what it is. That's not our field. You know, we're in the field of solving the problem, not analyzing the problem. So I think that's right. I think we feel it particularly in South Africa, though. Obviously, we have there's various things going on, and so our problem, the answer to our problem, we can apply in South Africa, and that's where GOSA comes from, where Girls on Fire comes from, and this is what this has proven, is that this is truly an international phenomenon. And I mean, New Zealand, from New Zealand to Los Angeles, you've been. And I'll just drop a spoiler alert, guys. One of the videos that we're going to be dropping over the next 2 weeks, essentially, is going to be a very famous person, internationally famous person, a lady who stood up to the cyberbullying that her daughter was being subjected to, and caused that the cyberbully, her actions, her dogged never say die approach, caused that the cyberbully was actually federally imprisoned in the United States. Caused a huge upset, and the story has actually been recorded and played as a documentary on Netflix.
Amazing women. I've spoken to absolutely amazing women over the last. Everyone's story is amazing. It's as I said, been very, very harrowing. The cyberbullying thing is definitely coming out, and we even see that on normal bullying. If you have a look, people are so brave, the behind keyboards
Yes.
lately, and it's a particular thing that's definitely coming out. People can say
And I mean,
whatever,
we've seen some of this too.
People can
Just
say
saying.
whatever they want to say because they're sitting behind the keyboard.
Because there's no
And
consequences.
There's no consequences.
As Mike Tyson always used to say, you know, everyone's a fighter until they get punched in the nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't get to punch cyberbullies in the nose very often.
No, not very often. It was very interesting, especially with this lady that Anonymous got involved. And,
Yeah.
It was an interesting story.
And actually, the case from the federal perspective turned on the fact that guys, in case you want to look at this, if you have Netflix, go and look for The Most Hated Man on the Internet. The lady that Lynette interviewed this week was the mother of one of the victims of the cyberbullying from this guy, and she was the prime cause for having this thing exposed.
Yeah. The only way they could get him, because the laws are changing, and she's very much involved in changing the laws in the US. But the main thing was that she actually.
Sorry, the Rottweiler's licking my legs.
And
it's driving Lynette nuts.
Exactly. So the main thing that they got him on is that he actually hacked the accounts. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, gee. Enough, my boy.
It's your stories. Oh, gee, my boy. Oh, you're so beautiful.
So the main thing that they did is hacking him, that he hacked the private accounts.
So Anonymous hacked into his accounts.
But he hacked, the FBI got him because he hacked some accounts and got photos from there.
Yes.
And Anonymous also hacked in his accounts and
emptied his bank account
and a couple of other things. So
anyway, yeah, that'll all come out during the video, when the videos are screened. When that video, I don't know when we scheduled that video to be screened. I don't know if you have scheduled it yet.
Not yet. We're busy.
We're putting our first videos up today.
It's going to be at least 2 a day. We've got 34 in total. I've got a little bit of last 4 to record on Monday.
Sure.
But it's there's some amazing stories. Please watch us. Watch the videos. Support GOSA Girls on Fire and other organisations that will come out during the interviews. It's
fantastic.
Been fantastic. As I said, harrowing journey for both myself and the cameraman and the editor. It's just But
the guys our guys are going to need some psychological trauma counselling after this.
Yeah.
There were times when you know, I'm not the most sensitive person in the world. And I could see the pressure that both you and Hannes were under from conducting these interviews. It was thank you guys. It's a sacrifice, and it's appreciated, because I think that you have to bring these things to light for people to understand the scope of the problem, how widespread it is, and in what different areas it plays. I mean, right down to you did this week. A young lady in Benoni.
The TikTok lady, if I want to call her.
She said the TikTok lady who put her story on TikTok. And she was recently, I mean, literally.
13th of October.
13th of October. There was a home invasion robbery, and her fiancé was stabbed to death by the 3 home invaders. And she jumped onto the guys. They had knives only. She jumped onto the guys and tried to beat them while they were stabbing him. She got stabbed. Her dog got involved. Her dog got stabbed. But the guys eventually fled because she fought so bravely with nothing. They stabbed her with her own kitchen knives. She could imagine what her future was going to be like, her immediate future. She knew this was it. It was third monkey on the ramp to Noah's Ark time. And it started to rain. And she fought like a demon to try. And then she ultimately she couldn't save her fiancé. Her fiancé died shortly thereafter in hospital, or on the way to hospital. She took a while to recover. She's still obviously recovering from this. But she's got that fighting spirit. This is the only way we are going to win this. There's no other way. We were just saying, so we've had this in your press release for the 16 days. We've been talking about activism against gender-based violence for how many decades? and the crime stats just get worse and worse and worse. People don't care about activism. They couldn't give two hoots about it. The only way to do something is to take action, which is our point.
It started in 2015 when we started the campaign.
Yes, we recognized then that this just wasn't working. We have to start equipping women with skills to defend themselves and encouraging them to defend themselves. I guarantee you, if that lady hadn't have fought like a tiger, like a tigress, once the fiance was out of the picture, cast iron guarantee you, she would have been raped and probably killed herself.
Our first story that's going out today is also one of the girls on fire, Bianca Bell.
Yes.
That's the one that we're starting out with. And if she didn't fight back...
Sure. Same story.
Same story.
With nothing in your hands. People think, oh, but you need to have the drop on the guys with a gun. No, you don't.
He had a gun.
You just have to fight.
And she won our Fighting Spirit Award this year.
Bear in mind, caveat, you're not guaranteed to win the fight.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you have a better chance of surviving it.
This guy that she defended herself and a friend against basically was a rapist and a murderer.
Yeah.
So her chances of, her and her friend's chances of being raped and murdered.
And murdered, yeah.
Was
pretty good.
Was pretty good.
And you don't know that because you don't know who the guy is. If it's a stranger, you don't know who the guy is. You don't know what's going on in his mind. You don't know at what point is he going to stop.
When I do the training with the ladies, I always say avoid as much as possible. But when you do fight, you don't know what is in the mind of the perpetrator. When he is basically attacking you, you then fight with everything you have. And we have a toy that was just brought in as well. Any case, I think that is it. I'm spending the day today at Nasrec with other women. We will send some pictures to be included today. Today's is not going to be live.
So today is recorded live.
Because I'm going to spend the day at Nasrec, so...
He's brought the squirrel to me.
The squirrel. The scraggly little squirrel.
The scraggly little soft toy. Sorry.
Any case, so the last thing I think that's... so we still have the gun buddies things. Sorry guys, we haven't got it out yet. It's been absolutely nuts. But we've had a lot of requests. That's going to happen on the 10th, and we're getting back to the other thing on the 2nd now. But on the 10th, there's a lot of interest for the Gun Buddies program that we're going to have at Northcliff Country Club. We will release a lot more information next week. We've just been a little bit busy.
Okay, so next week is going to be huge. Yeah. So on Thursday morning, myself and Hannes and Cynthia and some of the volunteers are climbing into a bunch of into cars generously provided to us by Paul Meyer Ford, and we're driving down to Durban, and we're going to, the next morning we're going to be visiting the National Commissioner via a march from approximately Kings in Durban through to the national the provincial head office of SAPS, and we're going to be presenting it turns out we may very well be presenting a bouquet to the colonel in charge of the provincial DFO's office in KZN, because she got the lead out. She took notice of our impending march, and the fact that we've got permissions for it, and we've done all the right stuff, and we've publicized it, and she's gone hell for leather to clear the backlog. Remember, KZN was a huge backlog, huge provincial backlog.
Complaints about it.
And they seem to be, the guys are starting to report back now. Geez, my stuff moved in 2 days. Suddenly it's in consideration. Now it's, in 2 days. It's crazy. So it just goes to show that pressure helps. Public pressure helps. Nobody wants to have a crowd of people sitting outside their office chanting.
So please, if you are in Durban, and you've got, I know you don't work on a Friday afternoon. Sorry.
Or at all.
But please come and join the march. I'm not going to be there, but Paul's going to be there. Come and meet our in-house council, Cynthia.
Yep.
Neil Latuli from Girls on Fire will be there in my place. I have to keep the office running. Myself and Shay's keeping the office running. But come and actually meet the team.
Come meet the team. We're only going to be there for like a Friday lunchtime where we jump in our vehicles and we drive back to Johannesburg. There's no long weekends and and lollygagging at the beach for GOSA. We don't have that kind of. We're not in it for lying on the beach or having. Anyway, so we'll be going down quickly on Thursday. Friday morning, late morning, the police have asked us for late morning because lunchtime apparently is a problem in Durban because you trip over all the people rushing home.
Stop it. Anyway.
So we need to be finished by about 11 o'clock, 12, or 11:30. So it's a quick march, and it turns out, as I said, we're probably going to be congratulating them on catching up their backlog, which will build a bridge of stone for the future for us. This direct contact with the powers that be, that actually have the power to make a difference, that actually can turn things around. That's a massive win for us.
That's what GOSA is about. So please, if you're not members,
guys, join us. Go, come and say hi in Durban tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yes.
In a week's time. Yeah, sorry, long days.
Also, you finish with that, then I can maybe just talk about the photo shoot on.
Sunday. Sorry. Yeah, we also work on Saturdays and Sundays. So Sundays is Lynette's. We've been asked to prepare a calendar. The Girls on Fire have been asked to prepare a calendar for next year. So we're having a photo shoot with a whole bunch of the Girls on Fire.
And we're also going to have some very interesting guns from our sponsors, the CZ Bren, all kinds of other guns, Trevelo guns, etc., etc. Some very, very nice guns. And it's also for our promotional photos.
Sexy as hell.
Yeah, no, there's some.
And then there's the girls too.
Yes. So in any case, nice girls, nice guns, and we're going to have, that's for our promotional photos and the calendar for next year.
Fantastic.
So it's going to be great.
So guys, also if you want to GOSA Girls on Fire calendar, we'll prepare them in PDF format as well, so we can send them out, because that's how nobody posts stuff anymore. But we'll have that in high definition, so you can print them out locally or do whatever you want with them. I don't know if we're planning to sell any printed calendars.
Yeah. I've had a couple of requests already.
Well, there we go.
Any case, great. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.